everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And it's just going to be a game of solo D-Day today. And we're going to go through it here in one video, I hope. But today we're going to do something I typically don't do with D-Day, and that is we're going to play with the Fortune and Tactics cards. And we'll see how much of a difference they make. Fortune favors the bold. Well, I'm feeling bold today. So we're going to do this upright, and we'll see if the Allies are able to take the three cities of Cherbourg, Saint-Lô, and Caen. And we'll report back what happens on turn one right after this. Okay, so we're done round one, and we've been working with all the cards here. And I got to tell you, now I know I don't play with them. They're kind of crazy.
Go crazy?
Don't mind if I do.
But hey, it adds something to the game. But I think it's a little too gamey for my taste. Some of you may enjoy playing with it, and it's that's obviously it's a subjective thing, right? It's all personal. If you like it, go for it. If you don't, you don't have to.
Welcome back, Captain Obvious.
Yes, I am.
So. But anyway, here we go. A little wrap of the first round. Had some good blockhouse blowing up. I was able to get 4 of them, I believe. But then, or wait a second, one. Actually, I think I got 3 of them, but then one got to be built again, thanks to the fortune card or a tactics card. And yeah, the one card, which is, I think, huge, is that I could choose a zone as the Germans that the Allies could not move into, a beach landing zone. So, of course, you know, you choose Omaha because that's where all of their initial reinforcements have to go, so they wouldn't be able to place very much. But then there was a card that allowed me to move a few guys from Omaha over to Utah. But there's another card that I was able to add airborne units into because I rolled a die properly and off they go. So we had too many units there, so you can see that our reinforcements are pretty clogged up right now.
Any luck? No, nothing. I got no peristalsis.
What about Bran?
I tried Bran. 40%, 50%, 100%. The Bran isn't working for me.
And we weren't able to put too many on. The British, of course, didn't have that problem as they sweep in. The Canadians had a very good opening, as did the British over here, thanks to the extra airborne. And not as easy here, but they're slugging it out with the lone blockhouse left. Omaha's going to be tough, though. We moved a tank up from down here, south of Saint-Lô, because of a card. So that's going to be a really tough nut to crack. I think we're going to have to throw some bombers and fighters at that and hopefully try to push our way through. Because I think, I don't know, I've played a lot of games of this, and if you can't clear this out by turn 3, it's sometimes a difficult task to take Saint-Lô.
Stop whining.
So, we might have to use some of our Utah boys to come over and put some pressure on them. We'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much it. Not much else happened of any huge consequence. The Germans here rolled an 8 on the one side and a 5 on the other. So lots of juicy targets for the Allied aircraft right now because there's no anti-aircraft in the vicinity. So we'll see what they do. Turn 2 coming up. See if we can get off the beach here at Omaha, or on the beach. All right, turn 2 is done, and here we go. It is looking very good for the Germans. This game, they did lose 5 units on a battle here, though, which is pretty substantial considering they had 8 units there. So they ended up losing 6 total, but 5 in one defensive roll by the Americans. Over here, their the British have kind of steamrolled, and it's all just British. But now we got a few coming on. Kind of bad rolls for the Axis, even though they got to add one to their, or not add one, sorry, they got to re-roll their dice, one of their dice, but they didn't roll better, they rolled worse. Saint Lo is looking pretty good, but we know that as time goes on, the swarm of allies come down here and really put the hurt on them. So I'm going to have to make a decision here as the Germans if we're going to make our stand up in Cherbourg or if we are going to just stay down here and likely get hit down here. Now, the good thing about Cherbourg is that only the Americans can really get to you.
I stormed the beaches at Normandy. Ah! Of course, it was 1958, so the resistance wasn't quite as stiff.
No running! I said no running!
I'm not running!
In this game, the bad thing is that it's very hard to reinforce. It's hard to get things up there. And if you're wondering why I didn't put anything in there, there were some Allied fighters, and I didn't feel like throwing things away. We did lose 3 units in Rouen to a couple of fighters. Rolled 4 dice and got 3 hits, and there you go.
There you go. Where'd I go?
Got horrible luck. Caen is the scene of a real bloodbath. We've ended up with just 1 of each. And obviously the British should be able to take care of that. Can't bomb it now, though, because of the 2 factions. They're both in there. We did lose an American fighter to a tactics card. And so that was unfortunate. They... was it a tactics card or a fortune card?
It doesn't matter!
I can't keep them straight right now. Yeah, it was this one here. It just chooses and removes a fighter from play. That's why I don't really like the cards. You know, it's it's a 1 in 6 shot, but you know, just arbitrary. You're losing a fighter as the Allies. Kind of stinks, but it is what it is. So we're down to 7 fighters. Still got both the bombers for now.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
And the Germans, though, have a lot of AA coming onto the board. So, I think some more planes might be headed down to the ground in flaming fireballs. But, turn 3, coming up. We'll let you know if the stalemate here at Omaha can get resolved.
Short party!
First wave, ineffective! We do not hold the beach, say again! We do not hold the beach!
Alright, turn 3 is done, and things are looking a little better for the Allies now after some exceedingly good die rolls. They have been able to punch through and, take some stuff, kill some German units along the way, and not lose too much of their own. The Germans could only attack in 2 spots, so I didn't bother attacking here because I think that would be throwing away a tank and an artillery. So we'll let them do that on the Allied turn. And we also have quite a bit of stuff down here. Over on this side, had a good roll, rolled a 10. And so they are raring to go. We had a 9 on the other side and a 10 on this side. So 19 German reinforcements, which also though means that we're kind of going through the reinforcements rather quickly.
Well, duh.
The British were also lucky enough to get the roll that allows you to add some dead British to the reinforcement. That's this card here.
No, I haven't got any exchange.
Now, some people likely save this until you have a couple of cities under your control, but I think that might not happen for a while, and then by the time they get onto the reinforcement trip, they won't get into the war. So I figured do it now. I rolled a 5, so you can see that there are 5 volunteer regiments, battalions, whatever, ready to go. They call them divisions here, so, but there's just one guy in each, so should be good to get that extra manpower in to fight what's going to be coming. The Allies definitely have the upper hand on this side of the board, though. It's not looking too bad for them. And I'm trying to, as the Germans, trying to keep the pressure on, right? Trying to keep the pressure on so that Britain can't just send things over towards Saint-Lô quite yet. So until it's a real done deal, the British stuff and the Canadian stuff has to stay over here. Americans, on the other hand, they finally got rid of most of the stuff here. We're about to do our rolls for the blockhouses, so we can get rid of that one at least and start headed up towards Cherbourg. Some decent German reinforcements here. They also were able to move 2 on the last because of a die roll, and that's why a lot of the German units, the ones from Saint-Lô, came up to here, from here came up to here, and got a good coagulation of units. So being able to move 2 was quite a good timing. If they get that again, that could be a real problem for the Americans. The Americans don't have much more coming on, right? You kind of see everything here. So I think Cherbourg might be a tough nut to crack this time, but we'll see. Turn 4 is about to happen. And the German reinforcements are done. But the Americans have 1 artillery left, as do the British. So they have a little bit coming on after this, but not much. Germans are done. Germans are spent. I think this might not end well for Germany over here, so it might be an idea to come over to Saint-Lô. Saint-Lô's looking a lot tougher, lots of things for them to kill. There's about 30 units in the area. So that could be a problem for the Allies. We're on turn 6 right now. So over here we've got the Cherbourg is getting a little surrounded. And I decided with this stack here, instead of trying to attack there, I thought I'd go around. Now, the problem with that is, there's 2 problems. 1, takes me another couple turns to get over there. 2, the Americans could come in here and win it right now. Right, it's possible they could get 5 hits with what they have here. Plus I could possibly send some well, I can't send bombers! Why not? Because they both got shot down.
Well, that sucks.
Yes, they both got shot down. That was actually a couple turns ago. I forgot to mention that. So we're down to 7 fighters. And we loaded them up here. And all we got out of all that stuff moving in, and then some, was 2 tanks. So we had 8 dice. 4 dice shooting at each object as it came in, and it only hit on 2 tanks. Everything else got in unscathed. But then the British defended well and killed a couple of infantry. And yeah, there you go. So yeah, we're gonna have to punch out from cons so that the Germans don't sneak in on turn 10 and survive. That's the big thing about this game, is you got to get in there.
Get hot! 1, 2, 3, oh, get out, get out, get out! Move it out, move it out, move it out! Move it out, move it out, move it out!
Got to get in there. So the Americans, these Americans, this is going to be tough. We do have some tanks coming. That'll be helpful. It's going to be an interesting finish, though. We're halfway through the game, and everything's on the board. We've had some amazing rolls for reinforcements, so lots of stuff is dead. This is the dead pool. This is the dead pool. You can see the Germans have really lost a lot of stuff here. And the Allies have lost a bit too. Mostly infantry, though.
You see, killbots have a preset kill limit. Knowing their weakness, I sent wave after wave of my own men at them until they reached their limit and shut down. Kiff, show them the medal I won.
For the Americans, and the British have lost a couple of tanks, artillery. Those bombers, losing the bombers does hurt, though. All right, halfway done. We'll see what we see here in turn 6. Alright, so that was an interesting round. And the Germans were limited. They could only move in 2 zones, or out of 2 zones. But they were pretty much tied up almost everywhere. So we moved out of here and we moved a unit out of here to come take a poke over here. And yeah, no hits. But no hits back either. So yeah, a lot of that going on. Lots of blanks getting rolled. I had 8 dice at 2 on an attack last round and no hits. So
Stop whining.
Cherbourg up here. The Germans are holding tough. They've got 6 units left, and the Allies have 8 units. So anybody's game up there. Anybody's game. Down here, Germans are pretty well matched here. Over here is still kind of a British game, and we're down to just a few turns left. And if they can't kill everything in these zones, well, it's just not going to end well for Khan, as far as the Germans are concerned. Saint-Lô, on the other hand, might be able to remain contested. We are... Oh, it blended in. I didn't even see it. That should have moved on last round. Alright, so that's the last of the reinforcements, and we are on to round 6 or 7 now. I'll have to take a look and see. It's kind of funny when you play solo, sometimes you forget to move the marker and sometimes you don't, but I'll have to just take a look. Alright, well, we'll let you know how the next turn goes right when we find out what number it is. Alright, turn 6 is done. Up to turn 7, but I'm not sure this is going to go 10 rounds. This is all we got left up here. We got 5 on 4. Getting very interesting up there. And down here, wow. The Axis had some really good rolls and really shredded. The Allies got 3 hits here. The Axis turned around and got 5 hits. Well, it helps when you got 4 tanks and 3 artillery and a man there. So they did all right. Yeah, not much going on here. I'm waiting to see how things turn out. But Khan is gone. Yep, Khan is done. This attack here, they had 8 dice, got 7 hits, and there were 6 German units that got wiped out. So now the Allies can bring some tanks over and put some real pressure here. And I think it'll be interesting. I think this is going to be the deciding factor. Although, if the Germans get some lucky dice here, this could all be for naught, because that's just too far away to do anything in the next 4 turns. Tanks might be able to make it up there, but nothing else. So we'll see. Turn 7 coming your way. Well, what a difference a turn makes. This is now looking like a solid Allied victory, but who knows? Maybe the next turn won't be any good. So we're just moving up. We're going to be on turn 8 now. Up here we're down to 1 German unit. Yes, they kind of took it on the chin up there. And down here, this was a massacre, and it was just sheer weight of numbers and some really good rolls. So the Germans are now in Saint-Lô, and they have 7 units left in Saint-Lô, and the Allies are going to be able to move in before the Germans can move out, and it's all over but the crying, I think. I know some people like to bring the Germans back, you know, move them out 1 space and then move in on turn 10 and do that. But even if they move here, these 4 units can reach, these 3 units can reach, the tanks can come through, and then they'd be stuck there, and that would be it. So we're going to stay in Saint-Lô, try to hold on, and just, you know, we got 3 turns left. So we're moving on to turn 8, and yeah, oh, good grief. Forgot to move that guy again. Well, he's going to stay there now as a penalty. All right. The Air Forces, this is probably the worst I've seen, and I got a free American fighter back last turn that promptly got shot down over the territory next to Saint-Lô. So, yeah, down to 5 fighters. And we should be down to 4 if we hadn't gotten that one back. So here we are. We are in the last kicks of the game. And again, we're only on turn 8. That's why I thought it was further along. That's why I thought I was in turn 7 when I was really in turn 6. Is because of the death and destruction. But the cards increase it, or can increase it. It can also slow it down, but in my case, it seems to have increased the carnage at the rate at which things die. But moving on, we have one more round here, and we'll see if there's anything left on the board at the end. Wish us luck. Alright, it's all over, folks. The Germans have been defeated and kind of went out with a whimper. So, I thought, now's a good time to take a look at the object of the game and make sure that, got it right. Because, put out a lot of videos on this game, and I found out that, in fact, I think a lot of the games that we've played have been German wins, because the object of the game, if you're an Allied player, this is what you need to do. You need to capture the zones containing the cities of Cherbourg, Saint-Lô, and Caen, and hold these zones for one complete turn. Which means if you capture them on turn 10, you lose. So you need to capture them by the end of turn 9. By the end of turn 9, you need to capture and hold. So you need to kill every German on the board, that's in the cities anyway, by the end of turn 9. Ouch. That makes it a lot more difficult. Now, granted, we just did, turn 8 and it's over, but without these cards, which kind of accelerate the destruction, that's going to be a bit of a tougher. So maybe in the comments below, let me know, did you know that?
Leave me alone, I know this one.
Everybody knows this one. Let's go now.
Yeah, does everybody know this one here?
Frank, we're fighting again. Let's not fight anymore. Oh, look, Frank. What is it? It's a...
And I mean, how many times do we play games we learn from other people, or we learn ourselves, and we kind of get a little bit of a wrong interpretation of the rules, but everybody goes along with it for years and years and years and years and years, and then you learn, you're like, hey, wait a second, maybe we were doing that wrong. So let me know in the comments below if that is something that you have discovered yourself, that you actually have to capture these cities turn 9. Now that means there could be Germans on the outside that then move in on turn 10, but then you've got to kill them. That's what I'm assuming. You'd have to kill them by the end of turn 10, because that means you have held it for a turn. Because otherwise, if the Germans just walk in and survive, I guess that means you don't hold it anymore. So I don't know. It's kind of messed up. But going forward, I guess that's going to be what it is. I don't think I'm going to play with the fortune cards or the tactic cards anymore.
You're so smart.
They really slow the game down, for one. You gotta check out dice roll, and you gotta do this, that, and the other thing, and then the added destruction, and then I lost 2 bombers because of the cards, and a couple of fighters as well, just because it increased the anti-air or whatever. So it was just, yeah, didn't like it. And I think the reinforcements got on there way too fast. Way too fast. I think by turn 5 we were done with the reinforcements. So a little too much of death and destruction for the game, in my humble opinion. Other people could disagree, and you're obviously more than welcome to. But in this instance, I think it didn't serve the game very well to play with the cards. But anyway, this is a resounding Allied success. You can see how much stuff they have. The Brits actually outnumber the Americans, and yeah, they did very well. So thanks for watching, folks, and I hope that you're having yourselves a great spring, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, in which case it's autumn. And hey, as we always say here, hug your loved ones, thank your friends for playing, and as always, may the dice be with you.